G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm reviewing the Jura J8 Twin automatic coffee machine. So for all you Aussies out there, it's not the Jura J8 Twin coffee machine, it's the Jura J8 Twin. It's coming fresh off the Swiss Alps into the Australian market. It's kind of a new, relatively new entry into the Australian market. And as you can see, it's a beast of a machine, but does it make a beast of a coffee? And is it the right coffee machine for you? Well, let's dive in with my Jura J8 Twin review. And as always, I'll just start with the price. And look, it's unapologetically premium, this device, and it starts with the price. It's $4,390 recommended retail price here in Australia. So it's definitely up the tip of the top end of the scale when it comes to automatic coffee machines here in Australia. As a comparison, if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know that I recently reviewed the DeLonghi Rivalia, which I really quite liked, a great automatic coffee machine. You can get 3 of those for the price of this. Now I should say that I have seen it going for about $3,999, so you can pick them up for under $4,000, but obviously you're making a hell of an investment when you pick up the Jura J8 Twin automatic coffee machine. Now let's dive into the specs and see what you get for your money. Now the twin in the name refers to twin grinders, allowing you to store 2 different coffee blends at once, and I'll show you some more in detail in a second. But yeah, you basically got 2 separate hoppers. These are PAG3 plus high performance conical grinders too, so the top shelf grinders. Now note that the PAG stands for professional aroma grinder, but as far as I can tell, it's not an industry standard, it's more of a Jura marketing term to kind of differentiate itself from lesser automatic coffee machines, so I'm not sure how much to read into that, but the conical grinder side of it is definitely worth noting. Now it's got 32 customizable specialties to select from, which is huge. It's 15 bar pressure from a single pump, so despite the dual hoppers, a single pump delivering 15 bar of pressure. It's got a wide 6.7 inch panoramic touchscreen, which is broken into 3 linked panels. I'll show you that more in detail in a second. And as the company is quick to point out, this is Swiss engineering. Now there's a sensor that they call Coffee Eye. That makes sure you have your cup in the right position before it starts, so it checks, is there a cup before it starts pouring. It's got bean monitoring. It's got a sweet foam function, so you can add things like syrup into the mix, which is pretty cool. In terms of general capacities, the grounds can hold 15 cups worth of leftover grounds. The hoppers are 180 grams each, so you can have 2 180 gram hoppers. 1.8 litre capacity water tank, so that's pretty decent. There's 8 levels of coffee strength to choose from, 3 levels of brewing temperature, 3 levels of cup temperature. There's a height adjustable coffee spout is 66 to 112 mils, and the high adjustable cappuccino spout, they call it, is 107 to 153 mils. And as I'll point out when we go a little more into the design of it, it does allow you to fit things like travel coffee mugs under the spout, which is a great win. It's got a ground coffee chute, so you can just use already pre-ground coffee or instant coffee if you really want to. It's Wi-Fi enabled, and it does weigh 11.5 kilograms, which is quite whopping. So let's get into the design of the Jura J8 Twin. And look, Swiss engineering, they say. There's a lot of smarts in the way that this thing has been created. As we're going to go through, there's some pros and some cons. But in terms of just like the sophistication of the way that some of the things work, it's really, quite impressive. The build quality, not necessarily on the outside, but on the inside is really mind-blowing in many ways. So if you come and have a look over here, actually, we've got the 2 hoppers up the top here. So you can see the separate hoppers design at the front. The way that they brought into the machine and the way that you kind of use that through the UI. You've got different strengths that you can adjust here on the grind settings. And then these mix in different ways inside. So you can actually use 100% this side, 100% this side, or mix and match, allowing you to experiment in some really interesting ways. Depending on what type of coffee you make, it can come out of these spouts. So if you're having an espressos, for example, it'll come out of here. But if you're having milk-based coffees, it'll come out of here. So all of that must be complicated business must be going on in the inside here to allow all of this to work in really interesting ways. You can also adjust on here. You can, and like I said, you can adjust up the top, as well as the screen functions. There's really interesting ways to do the syrup. So I'll show you right now in my little goodie bag over here. So this little syrup container, and you can just pop this off like so. It's a little bit hard, a little bit kind of interesting how it works. And then you can sit that in there, and it's intelligent enough, and the mechanics are sound enough to make that work. So you put your syrup in, and it'll feed the syrup in while it's doing the milk frothing as well. I'll go a little bit more when we talk about the performance, but the milk frothing as well is top notch. I'll just put that back in there. The water container as well, really smart. The cool little opening side lid like that. It's really easy to bring in and out. Very easy system. Pretty easy to access, although you're going to need some height to kind of get it kind of up and over, but not too much. Just a little bit, probably about that much extra height if you've got low pantries. It may be an issue for some, but probably won't be an issue for many. So yeah, overall, the vents at the top, the way the aroma goes out, like you can see the quality in the way that it actually produces the coffee. But now as we move on to the cons, obviously it's big. It's taking up a lot of space. Probably not a lot of space for what it does, but a lot of space compared to other automatic coffee machines in the market. It's heavy. So if you're the type of person who would have this kind of away in like a walk-in pantry or something like that, and then would bring it out for use when guests are around, it's 11.5 kilos. It's quite heavy to move around. There's lots of little extras. So as well as that kind of machine, you've got this you need to store, you've got all the gizmos in here you've got to store, the syrup things, there's spoons and everything. There's actually a fair bit more you've got to actually think about storage for than just this kind of sizable machine. And like the boxy design, like it's not particularly elegant. It's not ugly, but it's not like, wow, that's a stunning work of art, an architectural masterpiece. It's just basically a box. Although I do kind of like the way it kind of feels like it's sloping a little bit. But perhaps the most, the thing that kind of impacted me the most is that some of these finishes on the outside are just so cheap. Like this is just cheap. This thing here, the drip tray, comes out easily enough. Like, I got to lift this up. Comes out easily enough, but it's so flimsy, so flimsy. It's like the cheapest possible plastic you could imagine, that you actually feel like you're going to break it. And while, it's already 11.5 kilos, they probably didn't want to make it heavier. By the same token, you're spending over $4,000 on this thing, and it's got that. Like it should all be stainless steel. It should be at that price. So that's kind of where I feel like it's definitely let itself down a bit, because it's definitely premium on the inside, but it doesn't feel premium on the outside, and it just it takes up a lot of space. So you're going to have a kitchen to be able to handle it. Now, obviously, it's all kind of meaningless if the coffee isn't delicious, right? And for that type of investment, you want a damn good coffee. And like I said, it might not feel that premium on the outside, but on the inside, it is top notch. And the coffee that comes out of this, there's no doubt about it, it is delicious. Like the grinds come out really fine, really soft, full of flavor. It comes up to temperature quickly. The milk frother is excellent. And overall, the cups that come out of this are excellent. And really, that's what it's all about. And I really like the fact that there's the dual hoppers for someone like myself who likes to have a nice strong coffee in the morning, but later in the day and in the evening would much prefer to have decaf. That's also a really awesome feature. Not unique to this, in fact, the DeLonghi Rivalia does it with a bit more hands-on. You've got to take off the hopper and leave it and get the new hopper out. But still, having the dual hopper system, the twin that you get from the name, is definitely also a positive. So in terms of the performance from the actual taste of a coffee, and there's obviously a lot to explore, a lot of customization options, a lot of ways to experiment with different beans and mixing different beans together, all that kind of stuff. If you're really a coffee connoisseur, you can really dive in and go deep. But it's not all perfect. So the app, there is app support. There's a little wireless little piece in here. I found it before, whatever. Allows you to basically connect to an app, but the app doesn't tell you a hell of a lot of information other than where things are in their state of needing to be cleaned? Does the milk container need to be cleaned? Does the milk frother need to be cleaned? Do you need to do as a scaling? Various bits and pieces like that. So it more presents that kind of information more than it does allow you to kind of go in there and experiment with different types of coffees you want to make, or look at recipes, or look at ideas, and then kind of deliver those to the machine to kind of create. So the app is nice, but it's not overly functional. When it comes to the customization, it's really a bit finicky. So if you come over and have a look at the screen here, I'll show you what I mean. So on the front here, we've got a whole bunch of, it's all touchscreen, by the way. So you've got all different types of coffees. Now, if you want to do a customizable coffee, you can just press this button, it'll just start. Or you can press over here, go in, and then change the grind settings. Like I said there, you can swing it between 50%, one from each other, or move it across. You can also rename those if you want, so you know what's in there, or that your guests might know what's in there. You can change the grind setting on both of them depending on your 50-50. So you can have a fine grind on this and a strong grind on the other one. And then you can go into the next setting, and you can change with your milk and your water capacities. Now, the way that customization works is you basically have a cap on that the first time you do it. I think it was like, I got it on 240 now. Let's just say it was 120, I can't remember what it was. And 15 seconds, which is really annoying. Like, why are they measuring things in seconds? Should be mils. But anyway, then you save it, and then the next time you go into the setting, it starts at that level, and then the capacity, the maximum has been raised, and you can go up and up. So it's a really weird way of doing it. So you've got to kind of do a couple of cups, or a bunch of cups really, to find where you want it for your size cup and the taste that you want. So a bit of experimentation there, and it's not quite as user-friendly as it could be, but the touchscreen itself is lovely. And even though it says it's three panels and it's panoramic, it doesn't really do anything panoramic. It's just like basically having one big 6.7-inch screen split into 3 sections. Obviously the sweet foam feature is really cool, which is this little baby here, but it is quite fiddly. Now, you saw me take it off before. Now, I've done it a bunch of times, so I've kind of got a feel of how much you have to kind of pull it out in, but it actually feels like you're going to break it. And because this structure and this material is so flimsy, I don't think it's going to, I'll be surprised if it runs the length of time that it needs to. So this just kind of, you've really got to pull it, and it's basically on a rubber nub. So that's a bit fiddly, for sure. But without a doubt, my biggest problem with the performance of the device is the cleaning procedure, or at least the one it wants you to do. So what it wants you to do is this can either just go straight into a milk jug, into a cup of milk, into the cool control, which is an accessory. I'm going to do a separate review on that if you want to check that out. And it just goes in there and it pumps the milk through, you get your foam. And like I said, fantastic foam, really, really good. But then to clean it, what you want you to do is you need to get this, put this in here, sit on there, lower this into there, so it's like jammed into the top of this. Then this is a sample of the cleaning stuff, which you go through pretty quickly if you're using it every single day. And you drop 1 dose of that into here, then it runs a 5-minute cleaning process thing where it basically, it's pretty amazing what it does actually. It actually pumps hot water into here, mixes it with your disinfectant, or whatever that is, and then pulls it back out, up through the tube, which is going to be sitting like this, through the cleaner, and then regurgitates it back out, right? So this is obviously where you're going if you want to have like the maximum awesome coffee every single time you do it. But that process is laborious, and then it creates even more stuff that you have to clean afterwards, and it's just rinsing for the most part, but still. And when you compare it to other automatic coffee machines that'll just clean it pretty much hands off, you just either press a button or move a dial and it just goes bang, cleans it for you. This process just seems pretty hands-on to me for what is an automatic coffee machine. So yeah, that's, if you know, like overall the performance is really good, but that's just a particular thing that I found bugged me in the 6 or 7 weeks now that I've been using this. Alrighty, so let's make a coffee. So I've got here my light white, which is at fridge temperature. It's just come out of the fridge. And my favorite coffee cup, which I've adjusted the settings to perfectly match. Now, this is going to be I drink a very, very exotic flat white. So we're going to put this underneath the milk spout, not the twins over here. Get the temperature about right. And then I've already got it preset under my things. I should say actually that there is, the other thing that Jura does really badly is profiles. So there are profiles. They're hard to get to, they're buried kind of within, it's not like you can sit here and just go, you know, dad, mum, or something like you can in other things. In other automatic coffee machines that I've got, you actually have to go a couple of layers into the menu, find your profile, pull it out. It's just, the profiles should have been done a lot better. Anyway, it's sitting on my profile at the moment. So you should be able to hear the sound. And I want you to monitor not only the sound, but how quickly it comes to temperature here. So there we go, it's already producing coffee. So quick and so quiet. Those are two absolute strengths of this machine. You can probably see the beautiful caramel color that's coming out too. That's another sign that we've got a quality machine here. And you'll see that color stays pretty true for most of it. And I've got it set to a lot of mils. I've got maximum mils set on this at the moment. So even towards the end there, it wasn't looking awfully watery. Most people probably won't have as many mils as I do. So I had it set on 2 shots, I just realized. So you're going to get to watch it twice. And I'm going to stay awake all night. But yeah, you get a pretty, it really is, I'm impressed by how quiet the machine is compared to others that I've used. So if noise is a factor for you, I don't even know if I've heard a quieter coffee machine than this. And that's going to go through the milk frothing right now. And I don't know if you can see there as well, look how high it can go. So obviously I don't want to splash back at the moment. So it's now choosing 41 seconds of foam. Not a mil count, very annoying. I've got that set a little low. Just bring it up a little bit. You can probably also see that the milk's getting pretty deep. It's not just sitting on top. It's also kind of good. And there we go. So that is a fine looking coffee. Hot too. So smooth. It really does do a lovely coffee. The bottom line is, if you want the very best coffee making experience, then the Swiss engineering on offer here, look, you know, it delivers, but it delivers at a significant cost in not just price cost, but also in size cost. And I think for the majority of Australians, especially with all the little fiddly components and parts to it, like I said, with the milk cleaning and with the syrup and all that type of stuff, and the size of it and the weight of it, it's probably just overkill. And I do wonder sometimes whether or not, well, I do wonder, not sometimes, I wonder all the time, whether this is just better suited for, like, you know, small companies kind of lunchroom or something like that, where it's going to get used a bit more like in a commercial sense than it is necessarily for a retail home. And look, if you ask me the question, does this deliver a better tasting coffee than the automatic coffee machines that you can find for $1,500 or less, the answer is absolutely it does. Absolutely. Does it create a coffee that's $2,500 better? I don't think so. I think you really have to be right down the rabbit hole on being a coffee connoisseur to really get the value out of this machine, the Jura J8 Twin. So anyway, those are my thoughts, and that is my, sorry, I said Jura then, didn't I? Those are my thoughts, I do it every time. Those are my thoughts on the Jura J8 Twin automatic coffee machine. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out my other videos. Stay tuned because I'm going to put one up on the cool control accessory for this that keeps your milk at the perfect temperature. And obviously there's lots of other coffee machine reviews on my channel, so check those out. All right, thank you very much for watching. Check you later. You.